Here come the boys. Y'all ready to go swimming, baby? Come on. Give it up. Get out of that water. I tried telling y'all, it's swim lessons, baby.
A happy day to all of you. But first, before we get to our guests and a little more on this show on the NFL week, we got to go with the fastest few minutes in NFL history, and away we go. We start off in New York where Rodgers and company were looking for the upset against the injury-ridden Texans team, and it looked very grim on Halloween night for both teams, but the catch of the century happened from Rodgers to Garrett Wilson, who did a Michael Jordan type move, and that helped push the Jets off the runway and back into the air. Jets 21, Texans 13. The Cowboys, they've lost their saddle and the horse might be gone too. The Atlanta Falcons, with Kirk Cousins, who threw for 3 touchdowns, by the way, prevail and move on to a 6-3 record and are starting to find their groove. Falcons 27, Cowboys 21. Buffalo is the place to go if you want to find the big show. Big show meaning Josh Allen, who threw the football 39 times, completing 25 of those attempts for 235 yards and 3 touchdowns as the Bills escape a reignited Dolphins team with Tua Tagovailoa back. Dolphins 27, Bills 30. The Raiders look like they lost and not found as their struggles continued against the improving Bengals, who took the lead early and didn't look back. Joe Burrow threw for 5 touchdowns, and Mike "Do the Gritty" Gesicki caught 2 of those touchdowns. And the Bengals, who are now back to a 4-5 record, they take on the Ravens next Thursday, which is going to be must-see TV. Bengals 41, Raiders 24. Famous Jameis was looking for 2 wins in a row when a lightning bolt struck down on his crab leg plans, and the Chargers, who are now 5-3, get a big win at the Dog Pound. Chargers 27, Browns 10. And in the battle for the basement, Drake, I just may go play in the hay and make some clay. What do you say? With the game-tying touchdown pass to Stevenson at the end of regulation. But in overtime, it was Mason Rudolph who told his coaching staff, "Don't worry, I got this," and led his team down for a Nick Folk hand me the pitchfork game-winning field goal. Titans 20, Patriots 17. Jerden Daniels' MVP-like season continues after last week's Hail Mary full of grace pass where the Commanders waltzed into New York like Lawrence Welk back in the day to get the divisional W. Commanders 27, Giants 22. What is going on in New Orleans? In what everyone in America thought would be a handout win with the Carolina Panthers, Derek Carr struggled, their defense struggled, and oh, by the way, the Panthers, they might be back. Panthers 23, Saints 22. After the game, Saints go, "Dennis Allen, you fired, you bye-bye." Panthers get the W. John Elway's Denver Broncos had their fans saying, "This is our year," with 24-year-old rookie Bo Nix. But hold on a minute, not so fast, said the tandem from Stronghold, and that is Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, who put a hurtin' on this new and improved Bronco team. Ravens look good. Ravens 41, Broncos 10. The Jaguars, who have struggled this year, they put up a fight like a senior in high school looking to get that 18 score on an ACT test to get into college, but came up just short as the Eagles and Saquon Barkley, who spun with 2 defenders and hurdled them in what could be one of the best plays I've ever seen a running back make. Eagles, are they one of the best teams in the NFC? They win. Eagles 28, Jags 23. And oh boy, do we have trouble in Chicago. The Bears, who have dropped 2 straight. They look like they were starting to get some momentum in Arizona at halftime, but it was Amari DeCardos had a 53-yard run. That's right, a 53-yard run at half to propel the Cardinals 29 over the Bears 9. People are starting to murmur in Chi-Town. The rain was coming down like cats and dogs in Green Bay, Wisconsin, as the Packers trying to dethrone the Lions, who head coach Dan Campbell once said, "If your jersey ain't muddy at the end of this game, I don't want you on this team." Jared Goff's great season continues as the Lions are now 7-1, rout the Go Pack Go Packers 24-14. The 12th man faithful in Seattle are still in shock as Matt Stafford found the fountain of youth yet again, leading his Rams to an overtime victory over the Seahawks 26-20. Cue the Carrie Underwood music and cue the Skull chant. The Colts, led by Mr. This is 40 years of age, Joe Flacco, tried to pull the upset in the land of 10,000 lakes, but it was all Minnesota, all in the second half as the Vikings get back to their winning ways. Vikings 21, Colts 13. Whew. What a week it has been in football, no matter what level you might be, no matter what you might be doing. I loved it, and some other things that I love in my life are our sponsors. They made today possible, and that's Game Day Media, more than a game. Your leader in live video sports coverage in Northwest North Dakota. At Game Day Media, our goal is to expose, support, and promote the best athletes that North Dakota has to offer. Subscribe to Game Day Media on YouTube or find them on Facebook at Game Day Media. Out in there, they have schedules, quick links to games, everything. Really appreciate Game Day Media. And next is PSP Network. It's Game Day, promoting local student athletes for a very long time. They are right now in the heart of volleyball season. They have some volleyball games coming up. And then they're going to go on to basketball. Nick Holberg and his team do a great job. You can find them on YouTube at PSP Network and anywhere else you'd like to find them as well. PSP.network is their website, but give them a like and subscribe on YouTube at PSP Network. And hey, I'm a big football guy. Meet up with your friends and family at River's Edge Bar and Grill. They are known for offering the best happy hour in town, providing unbeatable deals in a lively atmosphere. Guests can also enjoy a variety of entertaining activities, including bingo, trivia, and the very popular Name That Tune. Come down to River's Edge for great drinks, great food, and great fun. Glosso Angus. I love a good hamburger. Glosso Angus, a proud sponsor of swim lessons. They are your premier source for registered Black Angus cattle since 1973. Glosso Angus showcase dominance, durability, and docility are built to thrive on the northern plains. Check them out at Glosso, that's GLASOE, Angus.com. And since 1972, BSN Sports has helped area sports teams look their best as they strive for their goals and dreams. They provide apparel, uniforms, and equipment for teams in nearly every sport. Local service with a national reach, that is BSN Sports. Contact your local BSN Sports representative for more information. BSN Sports, proud sponsor of Swim Lessons, the podcast. And last but not least, Fancy Panda Design. They are an independently owned design studio that specializes in branding, logo design, and marketing. They focus on adding value into your business to be as successful as possible. Deliberately distinctive design. Get fancy with Fancy Panda. Appreciate all those sponsors. And as I was saying, it was so much fun to get up on Saturday. And I've been working with Game Day Media, calling some football games, doing some color commentary. And the past 2 Saturdays now, I've driven down to West Hope. And West Hope, North Dakota, which is a small town, but West Hope is combined with Newburgh and Glenburn. And I've really enjoyed calling the games on Game Day Media because we've got to watch, and some of you that listen to the show don't know about this kid, so I want to talk about him. His name's Walker Broughton, and he just signed with the North Dakota State Bison. We actually had him and his head coach, Anthony Lee, on last year after they won the state championship here in the state of North Dakota for basketball. But Walker and his team were selling mini helmets. And I thought, oh, that's really cool. So I DM Walker. I said, hey, I'll take a mini helmet. They're trying to raise some money. So after last week's game, I'd kind of forgotten about it. And we hear the game ends and we're kind of wrapping up our cords and getting ready to leave. And we hear cleats on the footstep. And here it's Walker Broughton, going to be a D1 athlete for North Dakota State Bison, the best football player in the state of North Dakota, walking up the steps. And he goes, Dallas, here's your helmet, buddy. I wanted to give it to you. And I thought, how great is it to have not only a mini helmet that I'm going to be able to put in the studio and with a great story, but how selfless and great of a human is Walker? Because we've all heard the stories. The great athletes don't have much time for anybody, blah, blah, blah. This kid is the exact opposite, polar opposite. Very fun to be around, always taking time for each other, and he's just the top-notch kid. So this past week, we watched his team, the Sioux, take on a very good Warbird team. Walker dominated. It was 2nd and 35. The momentum was kind of against Walker and the Sioux. He made a 45-yard run for a first down. I mean, those are just some of the plays that he does. But we're in our Final Four here in 9-man football. And the Sioux, they're going to take on a nice team from New Rockford. And one of the best teams in the state, the number 1 seed, Lemoore, they're going to take on the Lions from Linton. My old college roommate, Jake Bauman, is the defensive coordinator for the Lions, and they're going to try to pull off the upset. But we're down to our Final Four here in 9-man. Unfortunately, it's not looking like I'm going to be calling any of the games this weekend, but I'm still going to watch, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But best of luck to all those teams left. And hey, how great is FCS football? Honestly, I've been a fan of the Montana State Bobcats from afar. I got a chance to talk to Taco Dowler, who's having a heck of a season, and also Tommy Malott. Tommy Malott, who came out and balled out this past year. He's led the Montana State Bobcats to a 9-0 campaign so far, but they still got the North Dakota State Bison ahead of them. And the Bison, if you recall, week 1, they played Coach Prime and the Buffaloes, Colorado Buffs. In week 1, they lost to Colorado in Colorado, but since then they've won 8 straight, including the Dakota Marker, where they beat South Dakota State Jackrabbits in Fargo at the Great Dome. And I love Coach Polasek, and I've been very fortunate and got to have him on the podcast as well. But when Coach Polasek talks, he is so intense. And here's what Coach Polasek had to say after their win and how they can kind of control their own destiny.
It's time to start talking about being in control of our destiny as far as establishing home field advantage. And we're going to defend the dome, but we got to earn the dome the rest of the way. And that's the only goal that we talked about in fall camp, along with leading the country in physicality and eliminating distractions. And so now we can talk about our goals because we're in November. November's huge because you'll either remember November or you'll want to forget about it as fast as possible.
I love that. Remember November, you want to forget about it as possible. That's Coach Polasek in a nutshell. And so the FCS, I hope it right now it shakes out. Bison are 1, Montana State's 2. Let me pull this up quick. Montana State's 2, South Dakota State's 3, UC Davis 4, South Dakota 5, and then the Montana Grizzlies are at 7. But how cool would it be if Tommy Mellott and the Bobcats got another chance to beat North Dakota State in Frisco, if it all shakes down? Because that was, 2 years ago, where Tommy got hurt in that national championship game down in Frisco and the Bison won. So there's a little bit something to that when it comes to Tommy trying to get back and win a natty. And I'm in the middle because I like the Bison, but I really enjoyed talking to Tommy Mellott and his teammates Taco Daller. And so best of luck to both teams. And it's going to be hard coming down the stretch here who's going to win. But as long as it's anybody but South Dakota State. Sorry, Jackrabbit fans. My who had it best this week, I got to give it to Garrett Wilson. Jumpman. Play of the ages with a one-handed touchdown catch from Rodgers to Wilson. Devontae Adams was quoted after the game saying he is going to talk to Garrett about leaving his current sponsor, Adidas, and coming to the Jerden brand after that play. So it's good to see the Jets to get it going a little bit. And you see Devontae Adams regain some confidence. Rodgers is starting to smile again. And here was Devontae talking about what I just said.
The second one-hitter.
The number 2.
Yeah,
the second one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I told him he might get kicked from Adidas after that one. that one looked like he headed over to Jumpman with me. So we're going to see. I'm going to talk to some people about that one. But
I love it. Devontae bringing on the old boy, Garrett Wilson. But somebody who isn't smiling right now is Mike McCarthy. McCarthy and the Cowboys do not look so hot. And the Dak Prescott mouthing of the "we effing suck," which you can easily say. I mean, Ray Charles could have seen what he's mouthed on the TV there. It's not good in Cowboy land, and a lot of people are calling for Mike McCarthy's head. They want to fire him. We're done with McCarthy. We're done with this. We're done with that. We paid Dak all this money. We paid CD all this money, and this is what we have to put on the field. But Mike McCarthy's in his last year as the NFL coaching contract with the Cowboys. So I'm guessing what Jerry Jones and company are going to do is ride this one out. McCarthy won't get another contract, start over next year. And oh, by the way, it looks like Dak's going to be done for a few weeks with that injury. And what's the plan with Trey Lance? What is the plan with Trey Lance? They traded for him. They got him. Cooper Rush is a nice player, but could we see Trey Lance maybe go on a run here? I'd love to see it, but we will see. In my hot seat right now is Matt Eberflus of the Chicago Bears head coach. Listen to this stat that I found. The Bears, Chicago Bears, are 0-18 in afternoon road games. 0-18 in afternoon road games. DJ Moore was seen walking off the sidelines as Caleb Williams was running for his life. It's an actual play. Caleb Williams is scrambling around. DJ Moore kind of runs a curl route. And he's jogging back, and he sees Caleb run around. He just runs back to the bench. And I don't know, maybe he tweaked something, hurt something, but McAfee, everybody on Twitter was talking about how bad that looked for DJ Moore. And the Bears, they're supposedly trying to move DJ Moore now. But DJ Moore just signed the biggest contract in Bears history. I don't know the exact numbers on it, but who's going to want to take over that contract if you're an NFL team? Honestly, nobody. That's who. So I don't know. Things in Chicago don't look good, but we'll see. Talking about Dan Campbell, his Detroit Lions look phenomenal. And this was Dan Campbell after the game.
Being able to play in the weather, it doesn't matter, man. That's just the way you're built. It's the way you're built. That's an outstanding win, man. That's 2 division wins. I am unbelievably proud of you guys. That's the way to come in and just ball. That's the way to ball, all right? I got 2 game balls. Number 1.
How can you not love Dan Campbell? Honestly, how can you not love Dan Campbell? I love the guy. And he did have a quote. I don't know exactly what it was, but he's like, if your jersey ain't dirty after this game, I don't know if I want you on this football team. Here's something that I found. I looked it up. I cannot believe it's a real stat. But Daniel Jones and the Giants continue to struggle. And listen to this. The last time Daniel Jones threw a touchdown at home in MetLife Stadium, now this is at home. These are some of the things that were going on in the world the last time and that have went on since. Aaron Rodgers was a Green Bay Packer. The New York Rangers had not won a World Series yet. Kevin Durant and Kyrie were teammates playing for the Brooklyn Nets. LeBron James was an all-time scoring leader for the NBA. Tom Brady was still in the National Football League. Nikolai Jokic wasn't an NBA champion yet. And I hate to come down on Daniel Jones, but my goodness, that's a long time. It's been a day and a minute since he has thrown a touchdown at MetLife Stadium. My favorite Daniel Jones play is when he had like a 70-yard run and he's trying to run and his feet are getting heavy. You can just see him struggling. He's trying to get going and he just falls down. But I love I love the comparisons that I found on the internet about this, and it's insane. You gotta win at home. The road is tough, I get it, but not throwing a passing touchdown at home in that long of time is very weird. The Niners now, they just came out and said they're opening up a 21-day window for Christian McCaffrey to come back and possibly practice. So you fantasy owners that took Christian McCaffrey probably top 5 in the NFL in your fantasy drafts, here you go. Here's your X factor going into the playoffs. McCaffrey comes back. You get that running back 1 back. Boom, you're going to be right there at the end. But the big talk of the week was off the field. And that was when a fan ran up to Jason Kelce, and my boy, Travis Kelce, who's dating Taylor Swift. Everybody and their dog knows that. Anyways, this fan ran up to Jason Kelce and made a homophobic slur about Travis and Taylor Swift. And Jason right away walked away. You can see in the video, it's all over the internet. Right away, walks away, and then he turns around. And he turns around, and he grabs the kid's phone and spikes it on the ground. And I couldn't tell in the video if he picked up the phone and walked away, but he definitely spiked it rather hard. And he did it while he was carrying a case of beer and an open beer, which I thought was kind of low-key impressive. I mean, who can do that? Didn't spill the beer at all. But this is just to show that, I've dealt with a lot of hate as well. But when you're Jason Kelce, you deal with a lot of hate, especially when your brother is as famous as Travis. Was he in the right or was he in the wrong? There are two tales to look at this and how to figure out if he was in the right or in the wrong. Number 1, if you're this kid and you're at the Penn State game and your favorite thing to do is to run up to Jason Kelce, who hasn't done anything to you or your family, and say something like that about his brother, is terrible. Okay, I've always been that guy. Last year at a Buffalo Bills playoff game, I wore a Travis Kelce jersey to Buffalo. I know I had it coming, but some of the shit that was said to me, same exact thing, was unreal. And I get it, the Bills Mafia is the Bills Mafia, but when you talk trash to somebody like Jason Kelce probably does every day, there's a difference between talking trash on the internet like a lot of these people do that are losers, and like commenting on Facebook saying how this is wrong, or tweeting at them, whatever you do. There's a big time difference between doing that with your thumbs on the internet and then doing it in person. And the part that really pissed me off was when Jason went down, the kid pushed Jason Kelce. Like, if you're this kid, how drunk were you? A, and B, why are you pushing Jason Kelce? Are you looking to get your face rearranged? Like, honestly. And was Jason in the right or wrong? I guarantee he's going to come out and probably say he was in the wrong. But let's be honest. In today's day and age, there's so much hostility, so much bad things that brew up. I kind of see where he's coming from. I wish he wouldn't have done it, because now people are probably going to ride him even harder. But if you're that kid, why do you do that shit? What makes you just think like, I see Jason Kelce walking out halftime of the Penn State game, I'm going to go call his brother a homophobic slur and then try to get in it. What's the point? Let's try to ELE. Everybody love everybody. Come on now. Give it up. But I hope Jason doesn't get fired by ESPN or anything for it. It's a very unfortunate thing. But life goes on, as we know, and I hope Jason's okay after this. But we're going to talk some football now with two great people that fortunately for me I have in my life. And the first one is Lordy. It's got to be Jerden Neuwirth, who is the best football fan I've ever seen in my life. And to close out the show, we're going to have Bill Krackomberger on. Bill has a great show Sunday mornings on Fox Sports Radio. He's got a lot of podcasts as well too, but he's a very, very, very hardcore gambler, and he knows the game of football extremely well. And Bill's just one of those guys where you talk to him, it's fun to talk with. And so right away, let's kick it off with Jerden Neuwirth.
Kind of hard-hitting questions do we have this time? Did you have Lane write them up?
Okay. Jerdy in 3, 2, 1, go. Welcome to Revelations. I got with me Lardy. It's got to be Jerdy, good friend of mine and the biggest diehard Tennessee Volunteers fan I know and Green Bay Packer fan. Jerdy, how we doing?
Doing great. Pleasure to be here. Longtime fan, first-time caller.
Hey, I saw a video and I had to put it on my Instagram story of the Volunteers when they have their coming out starting lineups. You've been to a Volunteers game this year. It was in Oklahoma, correct?
Yeah, we were down in Norman.
How electric is the college football atmosphere, and how excited are you for the Volunteers this year?
I mean, there's nothing like it. I've been fortunate enough to travel. I've been to a lot of game days in Lincoln. You know, that gets kind of blown out of proportion. But getting to go on the road and see some great places. Norman, I was in Athens a couple years ago. There's nothing like it. People just want to show off the places that they're from and that they're proud of. So you just get to walk around in a bright orange jersey, not hiding anywhere. Everybody's just happy to show it off. It's a great time. Met a lot of good people.
Speaking of a lot of good people, can the Volunteers do it this year to be national champions? The quarterback has been on and off, but what do you think? And obviously you're a little biased, but what with the college football landscape changing to the playoffs, do you think the Vols can do it this year?
Well, what's going to really affect them in the long run is the Texas A&M is somehow sneaking in right now with an undefeated record in the SEC. The Vols already have one loss. We already got one loss, and we got Georgia coming up. That game's going to kind of make or break us. 2 losses, I think we could sneak into the playoffs. I think the throw that Nico made at the end of the game to kind of put away Alabama, win the game for us, I hope that's him turning a corner, because most of the game he spent looking like Joe Milton. That throw was a little better. Our defense can play with anybody. Dylan Sampson can play with anybody. But when Georgia wants to show up, they're still Georgia. Texas found that out the hard way. And when you're getting them at home, that's going to be a tough game.
Did you get a chance to watch that Texas-Georgia game? I
did. I watched that with a good friend of ours, good friend of the program, Danny O'Boyle, who's a lifelong Georgia fan.
Oh, yeah, go Dogs. What did you think of the PI call that they overturned?
That's insane. I've never seen that in my life. I don't know how you can throw a flag and pick it up, regardless if it's a bad call. 80% of the calls they make in these games are bad calls. So I don't know how you can justify picking up a flag because a few frat boys throw stuff on the field.
So you weren't a fan of the reverse?
Nah, not at all. Not 1 ounce of me.
We've got a lot of fans of this show that are big Cornhusker people. What are your thoughts on the Huskers, and how can they turn this around? They played pretty well against Ohio State. Indiana threw them on the ground and wouldn't let up. But what do you think, and what's something you say to our dear friend Josh Borm as he's trying to get this Husker team back to good graces?
Well, if I had 2 comments on Nebraska football, I would preach patience, something they are not known for. And I would also say it's not ever going to be 1995 again. So that goes back to the first thing, patience. You got a freshman quarterback back there who doesn't move. He doesn't run. You can see he's reading the field, but he forgets he has legs. It's kind of something that happens when you're starting a freshman. A lot of talent, can make every play in the world, but he's got a lot to learn. So until he learns and takes the next step, they're kind of stuck where they are. They've got a good defense, good D linemen. They're making plays, doing what they can, and this is as good as they've been in years. But yet again, patience.
Yes. You're also a big Green Bay Packers fan. I like Malik Willis, but Jordan Love coming off that groin injury.
Don't do that. Most quarterbacks in the NFL don't do that. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I've been telling people for 2 years I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid on Jordan Love. I'm drowning in the Kool-Aid. Malik Willis, I am drowning in the Kool-Aid.
Can they make a playoff run?
Yeah, absolutely. I see the Bears being the Bears. I mean, Jesus. We're going to hand it off to a backup lineman who's going to fumble into the end zone on the inch-yard line, and then we're going to lose on a Hail Mary. Never change. Never change.
Did you see that corner for the Bears, like talking trash to the sideline, and then he tries to run over?
I wish you could understand how like happy I was watching that, because that's so funny. Every year they're like, "We're back! Like, you guys should really be afraid." I'm like, dude, no. He was really just jawing, and then he goes over there and just tips it up. You can't write that.
You can't write a script. Is the NFC North the best division in football?
This year, yeah. Somehow the Bears aren't truly terrible, but they're not like, they don't have a championship pedigree. Like Detroit right now, championship pedigree. Minnesota, I mean, where they're good, they're good. Where they're not, they're not. Their O-line and their pass defense is going to hold them back. Green Bay has everything they need. They just need to put it all together. Josh Jacobs shown you can rely on him. Jordan Love's shown he can win playoff games. The defense needs to start getting after the quarterback.
Well, how about Tucker Kraft?
Xavier McKinney. Oh, yeah, Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft mac and cheese.
I love him. He's a South Dakota guy.
I love that guy. Unbelievable. South Dakota State.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Yep. If we look at the AFC in the NFL right now, who are you putting kind of towards the top? Can we put the Steelers at the top yet? Or are we still waiting to see what happens there? But like, who's your top team out of the AFC?
The Browns with Jameis Winston undefeated. All jokes aside, I love that man. Must-see television, lifetime contract when he's done with the NFL. He's there, Charles Barkley. I would say the Ravens. Derrick Henry's unbeatable. I mean, he is literally beating Father Time every week. It's insane.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson looks as good as we've ever seen, but then they can't stop the pass. So if they need to do a lot of improvement on that. But other than that, the Steelers don't really look weak in any area. Najee Harris finally looks like who he was supposed to be. I think that game, is in 2 weeks when they play each other. That is going to be must-watch television.
Yeah, I agree.
The Texans have a lot of talent, but they're young. The receivers are hurt, so that kind of knocks them down a little bit. So unfortunately, I mean, the Chiefs are just watching everybody beat themselves up, and it's looking like it probably is going to be the same thing.
Looking forward a little bit here, November 16th, Tennessee and Georgia. Thoughts on that one? It's what, 3 weeks away, but a big game for both universities. What are your thoughts as the Vols play the Dogs?
I was there 3 years ago when we had Hendon Hooker, and they jumped us to number 1 in the standings and Georgia down to 3. And there wasn't a single person in the town of Athens, the surrounding communities, the state of Georgia, that was worried one bit. That team is not this team. Carson Beck is not Stetson Bennett. Kirby Smart's still Kirby Smart, and they got dogs in the trenches. They got dogs on defense, but Tennessee has a defense this year. James Pierce is unbelievable. Jermod McCoy made that one-handed pick against Alabama. I fully expect a close game. Could go either way. We're going to have to get a lot out of Nico. He's going to have to play smart football and not have any turnovers. Dylan Sampson can keep us in it. I truly think Tennessee's going to keep this a one-score game. Being on the road, playing in between the hedges, though, that is a very difficult environment.
Well, Jordy, I always appreciate talking to you. You're the man. I love your Twitter. Give us a quick plug for your Twitter so people can follow you, because it's always electric.
Redbeard69. My favorite tweet I've had recently was the Rockies said, who is our greatest arch enemy? And I tweeted at him and I said, yourself.
He's Jordan Neworth, everybody. Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you.
All right, Bill, in 3, 2, 1, go. Joining us now from Las Vegas, Nevada, is one of my favorite gamblers, favorite human beings, is Bill Krackomberger. Bill, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
I gotta say, I'm traveling back from a wedding in Minneapolis, Minnesota, 9-hour drive back to my hometown of Crosby, North Dakota. We're scrolling through the AM dials. We come across Fox Radio, and I hear your voice. And your show Sunday mornings on Fox is, I would say this without you being on the phone with me, one of my favorite shows. I absolutely love it.
Wow, that really makes me feel good because, it's on Sunday morning. It's not on the afternoon drive or the morning drive on the weekdays. So for every person that says something like that, it makes me think a lot of people feel that way, and I really appreciate it. We have a nice mix. Myself, former NFL player Jeff Schwartz, and Brian Noe, who always is the leading guy and has a lot of great insights also. So we have 3 different perspectives, and I bring the gambling, and I'd like to think I'm the only, at least one of the only real people in sports betting talk media. There's a lot of BSers out there, a lot of con men, a lot of charlatans, a lot of guys that don't put their money up, a lot of girls that don't put their money up. So, and they just talk sports betting, and it aggravates me to no end. So I try to talk about it in a nice way. I don't ever throw anyone under the bus, but I do call people out for the industry itself. They know who I'm talking about. They know who I'm talking doing it. I just haven't had a reason to do it, individuals. But there's so many con men out there. I appreciate Fox Sports Radio to trust me to talk about gambling in a safe way, in a responsible way, and also talk about it from a winning sports bettor perspective.
You can find Bill on Twitter at Billy Crackman. Your Twitter following is awesome to follow as well. But what's Jeff Schwartz like to work with? He's a former Chiefs player, and I've watched him play for a while, and now he's retired, kind of going into the social media thing. How is Jeff to work with?
It's funny, I talk to Jeff almost every day. Right? It's by text, but we talk almost every single day. I got to be friends with him, and more than just the show. He loves the gambling aspect of it now, and I just let me be blunt. It's a little hesitant to say, but I'll just be blunt. I have turned him into a winning sports bettor. Not that he didn't win before, but he sent me a great text yesterday. It made me feel really good. He keeps a spreadsheet. He's smart enough to do that. And most gamblers can't do that. They all think they win, or they thought they should have won, so they keep at it. But Jeff actually keeps a spreadsheet, and he's like, wow, Bill, what a year we're having here. So, and he's just a good person. He's a family man. I've been with him at many destinations. Fox sends us across the country. We were down in Miami. We were in, I'm trying to think where else we went. Cincinnati. Oh, we were at Cincinnati, where it was really, really cool they had a BetMGM sportsbook right at the stadium where the Reds play. And I thought that was pretty cool with, outside Red Stadium, Pete Rose. And I just had some really good interactions with Pete Rose before he died. So it was a really cool thing to be in Cincinnati, where I never was before. It was nice. It was really cool. Down in Biloxi, we had some nice interactions. Jeff's a really good guy.
I know the Pete Rose news was probably very tragic to you. As you just said, you guys are both kind of Vegas cats, love the Vegas scene. How did you take the news? And moving forward, do you think Pete Rose will get a chance to go into the Hall of Fame?
When I sat down with him, right across from him, we talked. I did not realize that Pete actually wanted to be in the Hall of Fame so bad. And, not that he was begging or anything. He's like, they'll never put me in. It's funny. He actually said, they'll never put me in when I'm alive. And that's what he wanted to be. He wanted to be in for his family, for his kids, his grandkids. To be real honest with you, I don't think he'd even care now. I really don't. He didn't want to go in this way. But I'm sure they'll put him in this Major League Baseball who's in bed with all the different sports books, making money hand over fist from the gambling community, but yet couldn't forgive a guy who actually admitted he did bet on baseball. Never against his team, only on his team and on baseball. And like so many players have done since then, that have come out And it just, it's everywhere. Gambling's accepted. You go to Yankee Stadium, left field, center field, right field. There's 3 different billboards for 3 different sports books. What does a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 8-year-old, what do they say to their dad? What is that? Oh, you can bet on this? Oh, they're conditioning America to bet on sports from a little minor age. And let me just tell you something, not that New York needed it, because, me being from back there, I've been gambling since I was, single digits. It was just a rite of passage. It was in our blood. So I get it. But the sports books have conditioned these people. We're going to see a giant fallout, We're going to see so many different people in trouble, not just degenerate gamblers, lawyers, doctor, businessmen, Wall Street type. There's going to be a giant fallout in this country. It's happened in Europe already. Australia, throughout Europe, so many people have been affected by this gambling bug. So even though I make my living betting on sport, I'm also one of the only guys that will talk about responsible gambling, because it's a really we're making our money from this industry. Why would you talk about it? Guess why? Bill Krackomberger can always go back to making a living betting sports. I'm not scared to be fired.
Yeah.
I'm not scared to be fired from anywhere. I mean, and I make money about 6 or 7 different ways outside the sports betting, but I can always go back to sports betting. These people that are talking about sports betting on air, they'd have to go mop floors for a living. They would not be able to do it. They would not be able to bet like I could for a living. And I still make my living sports betting more than anything else.
Isn't that funny the way that works sometimes? You know what I mean? Like some of these guys, these talking heads online that say do this, do that. And the funny thing about like FanDuel and all these other ones, they only show the winners. They don't show, like, obviously good marketing on their point, but there's thousands of losers, and the one guy that hits the 9-team parlay, they prop that out everywhere.
I put a tweet up yesterday, and it's got 52,000 views so far. And it's all about how the sports books promote parlays and how they make their bulk of their money from parlays. People go up to the counter, they're trying to make a grain of sand into a beach. So they always go up and say, man, give me a money line here, this, that, and they're trying to make, a $10 parlay into a 5-figure score, because that's what they're taught. That's what they're conditioned to know. They see it on Twitter. They see it on Instagram. They see people bragging about it. That's what the sports books want you to think, because that's where they make their money. You're talking a 25% hold compared to a straight bet that has a 4.5% hold. Of course they want you to bet parlays. Of course they want you to have visions of grandeur. That's exactly what they want.
He's Bill Krackomberger. You can catch him Sunday mornings on Fox Sports Radio with his pregame show. Bill, let's talk a little bit about NFL this season. It's been, let's say the field is very evenly matched. You've got obviously the Chiefs, who are at a weird 7-0. Detroit Lions look fantastic. But when I pay attention to you and when I listen to you talk about gambling, you talk a lot about prop bets. Is that something that's been your bread and butter this year so far?
Not only this year, it's almost every year. Now, granted, I do make money in college football, and we do have an edge on NFL. It's a very, very small edge. I'm talking like 0.5%. But prop bets, especially this year, I mean, I don't want to say the real percentage because it's hard to believe, but I'll just say it's greater than 5%. So it's real simple. The NFL market, when people come to the counter on Sunday morning, and they say, hey, what can I bet on the Rams this week? What can I bet on the Steelers this week? What can I bet on the Chiefs this week? Not only whatever you have in your pockets, whatever you can fit in a suitcase, dump it out on the counter, they'll take it. I mean, literally, they'll take 6-figure bets, even 7-figure bets on an NFL side. But now I go to bet a prop bet over under yards, by Mahomes, how many yards he'll pass. They're going to limit me to a nickel or maybe a dime. I'm happy to get $1,000. Why?
They will?
Because
really?
Yeah. Because the NFL, those sides are very efficient. The market is so efficient. That's all the networks talk about. Not just ESPN, Fox, CBS, NBC, ABC, every single thing on social media. It's all NFL. So the talk is out there. The line comes out a week before. It's a softer market. Therefore, I can bet $2,000-$3,000 a game. By the time game time rolls around, again, all the pros, the sharps, the money's out there already. The line is so good. The bookmaker is so good. Nobody could beat that NFL Sunday line. Very, very rare. Even I make a bet on Sunday on an NFL side. I'll bet a total once in a while, a first half total. But Sunday betting is for props. Here in Vegas, I do have the luxury of having many sportsbooks at my disposal. So I do have lots of places I can snag an extra half a point because the public's betting so much on the favorites, on the marquee teams. I can snag a half a point on one of the underdogs, on one of the other teams sometimes, which makes it a winning proposition, a winning bet for me long term. But as far as my money, it's down on proposition bets. But yet that's what everyone bets for the sides. They love betting NFL sides, love betting their favorite teams, and they love betting parlays, parlay cards. Lots of sucker bets, to be real honest with you. They love betting them, and it's fun. I understand, but that's why the sports books make all the money. Through week 3 in the NFL, 1, 2, and 3, there are certain sports books that made more money through those first 3 weeks than they made all of last season. That's how much money is being made on the NFL.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I appreciate you sharing those facts.
My allegiance is my bankroll. I live by the old Bronx Tale adage. They don't care about you. Why do you care about them? You're never going to see me going to a game, rooting for a team. I don't care what happens to them after the game's over. I don't care about any of that. I care about what I bet on, and that's it. They don't care about you personally. Why do you care about them? So I don't mean to be so harsh. I don't want to come off that way. I hope your listeners don't get upset at me. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good, Bill. I know you got a busy schedule, and I appreciate the time you gave us. He's Bill Krackomberger. Find him on all social media and Sunday mornings on Fox Sports Radio. Bill, greatly appreciate the time. You are the man, and stay in touch. I really appreciate and love what you have to say about the league.
Anytime, my friend.
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate you.
Hey, thank you. You got it, buddy. Anytime.
All right, see ya. Appreciate Jerden, and Bill Krackomberger for coming on the show today. Appreciate everybody listening. To close out today, I wanted to share with you something that I found on the internet, and that in trying times like this for a lot of people, for me, I'm trying to get a dream going. It's tough for me, when I think about these ideas and if I should do this or not. What are my friends going to say? What are people going to say? And I shouldn't care. Like, I get told all the time, I shouldn't care. It's all good, but I do care. And so I saw this message, and I'm like, you know what, that's pretty inspirational. And if you outwork people, you'll get there. But I want to share this with you before we end the show. And this is Michael Jordan's old trainer talking about Michael Jordan.
If you don't come in and treat every day as game day, you're going to never be ready for game day. Every practice, Michael always said, I practice so hard so the games are easy. If you
practice so hard so the games are easy,
you got to lose. To be successful, you got to have something that's not successful. To be happy, you got to have disappointment. I think all of those things have evolved and happened to make me who I am.
There you go. You heard it from Michael Jordan himself to end the show. Hey, I appreciate all my sponsors. I appreciate you, the listener, tuning in. We've got a good guest this week on Swim Lessons every Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. But until next time, Dallas Hansen signing off. And give us a like on YouTube and subscribe. We appreciate you. I love you. And we'll see you next time.